Dogma 3, History Number 2, Cosmogony, which is not the same as Dogma 1, Metaphysics 2, Cosmology, Book of Uterus. In the beginning there was Void, who had 2 daughters. One, the smaller, was that of Being, named Eris, and one, the larger, was of non-being, named Aneris. To this day, the fundamental truth that Aneris is the larger is apparent to all who compare the great number of things that do not exist with the comparatively small number of things that do exist. Eris had been born pregnant, and after 55 years, goddesses have an unusually long gestation period, longer even than elephants, her pregnancy bore the fruits of many things. These things were composed of the 5 basic elements: sweet, boom, pungent, prickle, and orange. Aneris, however, had been created sterile. When she saw Eris enjoying herself so greatly with all of the existent things she had borne, Aneris became jealous, and finally one day she stole some existent things and changed them into non-existent things and claimed them as her own children. This deeply hurt Eris, who felt that her sister was unjust, being so much larger anyway, to deny her her small joy. And so she made herself swell again to bear more things. And she swore that no matter how many of her begotten that Aneris would steal, she would beget more. And in return, Aneris swore that no matter how many existent things Eris brought forth, she would eventually find them and turn them into non-existent things for her own. And to this day, things appear and disappear in this very manner. At first, the things brought forth by Eris were in a state of chaos and went in every which way, but by the by she began playing with them and ordered some of them just to see what would happen. Some pretty things arose from this play, and for the next 5 zillion years she amused herself by creating order. And so she grouped some things with others, and some groups with others, and big groups with little groups, and all combinations until she had many grand schemes, which delighted her. Engrossed in establishing order, she finally one day noticed disorder, previously not apparent because everything was chaos. There were many ways in which chaos was ordered, and many ways in which it was not. Ha, she thought. Here shall be a new game. And she taught order and disorder to play with each other in contest games, and to take turns amusing each other. She named the side of disorder after herself, Eristic, because being is anarchic. And then, in a mood of sympathy for her lonely sister, she named the other side Aneristic, which flattered Aneris and smoothed the friction a little that was between them. Now all of this time, Void was somewhat disturbed. He felt unsatisfied, for he had created only physical existence and physical non-existence, and had neglected the spiritual. As he contemplated this, a great quiet was caused, and he went into a state of deep sleep, which lasted for 5 eras. At the end of this ordeal, he begat a brother to Eris and an Eris, that of spirituality, who had no name at all. When the sisters heard this, they both confronted Void and pleaded that he not forget them, his firstborn. And so Void decreed thus: that this brother, having no form, was to reside with Aneris in non-being, and then to leave her, and so that he might play with order and disorder, reside with Eris in being. But Eris became filled with sorrow when she heard this, and then began to weep. "Why are you despondent?" demanded Void. "Your new brother will have his share with you." "But father, Aneris and I have been arguing, and she will take him from me when she discovers him, and cause him to return to non-being." "I see," replied Void. "Then I decree the following. When your brother leaves the residence of being, he shall not reside again in non-being, but shall return to me, Void, from whence he came. You girls may bicker as you wish, but my son is your brother, and we are all of myself. And so it is that we, as men, do not exist until we do. And then it is that we play with our world of existent things, and order and disorder them, and so it shall be that non-existence shall take us back from existence, and that nameless spirituality shall return to Void, like a tired child home from a very wild circus." The owls may not be what they seem, but they still serve an imperative function. They remind us to look into the darkness